After playing Minecraft for years, something finally started to feel off. But not in the game itself, but in the way I was seeing it. I'd log into my world and walk around for a bit. I'd pass builds that I used to be proud of, but now I just feel nothing sometimes. The houses that I spent hours on, paths I used to walk all the time, even entire areas of my world. It was like I wasn't even seeing them anymore. And I kept telling myself it was normal, that I'd just done it already, or that I needed something bigger to work on. But the more I thought about it, the more that didn't really make any sense, because none of those things were actually worse than before. The only thing that I had changed was how I was looking at them. And at some point, without realizing it, my brain had started to decide what mattered and what didn't. And anything that didn't feel important anymore, it just kind of disappeared. And once I noticed that, I couldn't really unsee it anymore. I wasn't running out of things to do. I honestly just stopped seeing what was already there. And when I started playing for the first time, it wasn't really like that at all. I didn't think about what mattered, or I didn't question if something was worth it. I would just do things, and that was enough. I'd spend an entire night building something small, something that didn't really serve a purpose. And it would still feel like it was time well spent. I'd walk through my world and actually notice things, the way a path curved, how a build looked from a certain angle, even just random spots that didn't really have any meaning. And none of that had to lead anywhere. It didn't have to connect to something bigger or be a part of something important. It just existed, and that was enough to make the world feel alive. Looking back, it's not that there was more to do back then. It was just that I was seeing more. And it's not like that change just happens all at once. It's slow. You don't even realize that it's happening half the time. You just start playing a little bit differently. And you'll log in, you'll look around, and instead of thinking, what can I do here, you start thinking of what I should do next. And that sounds like the same thing, but it's really not. One of them is open, and the other one already has an answer. You start ignoring ideas before you even try them. You're skipping over things because they don't feel important, they don't feel worth it. You choose projects based on how useful they are, not because you actually want to do them. And it's subtle. It feels like you're just being more efficient, like you're just playing the game better, but without realizing it, you started filtering everything, not based on what's interesting, but on what matters. And after a while, that way of thinking doesn't just affect what you do, it starts affecting what you even notice. You can feel it when you're playing. You walk through a world, past builds you spent hours on, and your brain doesn't even react to them anymore. Not because they're bad, and not because they need rebuilt, but because that they just don't feel important anymore. You stop looking at things for what they are, and you start looking at them for what they give you. Does this help me? Does this lead to something? Is it actually useful? Does it give me more? And if the answer is no, then you move on. You don't stop and look at it. You don't think about it. It just gets filtered out. And the thing is, you don't realize that you're doing it. It just feels normal. Like, of course you'd ignore it. It doesn't matter anymore. But that's the moment that everything changes. Because your world didn't lose detail. Your brain stopped letting you see it. And after a while, you would start to feel it too. Not all at once, just in small moments. You log in, walk around, and something feels off. Like the world isn't hitting the same way that it used to. Not because there's nothing there, but because nothing is really pulling you in anymore. Nothing's pulling your attention in. You're surrounded by the things that you built that used to mean something to you, and now they just feel like they're just there. You don't stop, you don't look around. You're already thinking about what's next. And the more that happens, the smaller everything starts to feel. Not physically, but mentally. Like the world lost its depth. Like everything just got flattened into useful or not useful. And everything that falls into that second category might as well not even exist. That's why it started to feel empty. Not because the world is empty, but because most of it has already been filtered out. And that's the part that most people get wrong about Minecraft. When Minecraft starts to feel different, we assume that it's the game, that we've just done everything, or that there's nothing left that's interesting anymore. But that's not exactly the case. That's not really what's happening. The game didn't lose anything necessarily, you just stopped seeing most of it. Because once your brain starts filtering everything through, does this matter? You're not really experiencing the world anymore, you're just scanning through it. Looking for the next thing that feels important and ignoring everything else. And when you see it like that, of course, it feels different. You're not interacting with the same world that you used to. You're interacting with a version of it where most of it doesn't even register. That's why it feels like something changed. Not because Minecraft is different, but because the way you're seeing it is. And here's the thing. Once you notice it, you start seeing it everywhere. You catch yourself walking past things that you would have stopped at before. You start ignoring parts of the world that used to mean something to you. Not because that they changed, but because you did. But because you already decided that they don't matter anymore. And it kind of makes you wonder this. How much of the game have you been missing without even realizing it? Because it was never about running out of things to do. There's always more to do in Minecraft. You just stop seeing that. And once you realize that, you don't really play the same anymore.